Hey everybody, Phil here with Carcraft Classics, once again to show off some new inventory. Take a look at this beautiful 1965 Corvette Convertible. Give you all the details on the car, and I've got plenty in just a minute. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Carcraft, maybe watching your first video, we're located here in Georgia. Nice big facility, 321 Canton Road, Cumming, Georgia 30040. Shop number is 470-239-4977. My cell is 770-317-1415. We've got this Corvette coming to you soon. It'll be listed in our inventory. That's a 2013 Grand Sport. It's a little newer than we usually mess around with here at Carcraft Classics, but local car, low miles, just couldn't say no. It's gorgeous. All right, real quick inside the shop. A little low on inventory at the moment. We're working on that every day. There you go. Nice 72 Chevelle, 73 Camaro. Just picked up this 68 C10. Got a nice, another new piece of inventory back there. 87 square body. Got a beautiful 70 C10 hiding back there. 80 Z28. That car's actually sold, but so this is our place. Let's get back to this C2 Corvette. So this car came to us locally. I believe it's been in Georgia most or all of its life. In 2002, it underwent a completely frame-off restoration, and in 2007, pulled the motor, rebuilt it to factory spec for a 396 cubic inch L78, 425 horsepower engine. We'll get to that in just a minute. Again, the car's local, so if the previous owner is needed, if you have questions I can't answer, he's accessible. Just not always the case, so that's really a good thing. Here's some parts. Original parts are off the car. You know, there have been a few upgrades done. One of them was to the cooling system. It's got an aluminum radiator in it now with a nice electric fan setup. So here's the original fan shroud. There's the original clutch fan in there. Some brake parts that were taken off, replaced. One of the factory options on this car is the transistor distributor. That was upgraded as well. Got a little CD with some picks. Some extra parts for the middle console. A little remote control for the upgraded stereo. Rockford Fosgate. High dollar stereo. A little trickle charger. Got a nice, very useful soft cover. Some fan belts. You always need those. And really quick, guys, I want to just go over a few things with you. I've got some cool documentation here that I want to share with you. I'll try not to ramble too much. But this car, again, was an original Georgia car, I believe. And look at that sale price, $54,3950. Can't get them for that anymore. It was built in the St. Louis, Missouri plant, which I believe has been closed. So here's a list of some factory options. It's got the four-wheel disc brakes, the power antenna, tuxedo black exterior paint, got the white leather interior, soft ray tinted windshield, which I love. It's got the F40 suspension package on it, positive traction rear end. It's got that big block, like I said, the 425 horsepower V8, 396 cubic inch. Got the transistor, used to have the transistor ignition system, 4-speed manual transmission, the Rolling Thunder side exit exhaust system, teakwood steering wheel, telescopic steering column, which is awesome. So if you know anything about these C1s and these C2s, there's not a lot of room in that cockpit, and it feels like some of the setups in those cars without this telescopic steering, you know, it feels like the steering wheel's on your lap. So this one, you can actually adjust it in and out so that you can have a more comfortable driving position. Lastly, we got the white wall tires. It's got white walls on it now. Of course, upgraded newer ones. AM/FM radio in the comfort and convenience group. It's amazing how cheap things were back in the day and how much more they are now. Okay, so I mentioned to you that the engine was rebuilt. Here's some information about that. It's got a replacement Holley on it, the correct one. Got all part numbers. It's got 780 CFM. It's got the correct square port heads and square port intake manifold with the snowflake casting. I know all the Corvette purists love that. It's got it is a 4-bolt main, 11-to-1 compression with the domed cast aluminum pistons. Some of the internal upgrades: Eagle high performance connecting rods, forged steel case hardened crankshaft. The solid camshaft's been replaced by a hydraulic setup. Let's see, batteries. It's got 2 Stinger batteries in it, one to help with that stereo system, and they're hideaway inside the engine compartment. Again, there's 2 of them, high dollar batteries. I mentioned the cooling system. Got the radiator, aluminum radiator, looks great in there with the electric fan setup. I told you about the disc brakes already. The Rockford Fosgate stereo, 1600 watts per channel. It's got an amp in the back. I'll show that to you in a few minutes. And a subwoofer as well. Center force clutch, dual friction. It's got the Muncie 4-speed, the positive traction rear end with the C2 half shaft drives. And not to be forgotten, it's got the 15x6 correct steel wheels with the 65 hubcaps with the spinner. And this little write-up was done by the previous owner. You can tell he really loved this car and loved going through the build. He talks about all the factory options we mentioned earlier. The big block, the 4-speed, the side pipes. And then there's some information here about the rarity of the car. It's only 1,578 big block Chevy convertibles made in '65 with this particular setup. Talks about the brakes, the F40 suspension, Rockford Fosgate tuner, and the details about the restoration. As I mentioned, in '02, full body off restoration. 4,000 miles ago in 2007, that big block was rebuilt and restored. All right, so that's it with my babbling. Sorry about that, guys, but I wanted to get it out. Well, let's go take a closer look at this sweet ride. First thing you'll notice, it does have a Stinger hood. That was an aftermarket upgrade. I just think it looks so great with the whole tuxedo setup with the black and white combination with the interior and the exterior, and now the hood just brings it all together. Just absolutely gorgeous. Look at those side pipes. Got the factory shields on them. It's the best sounding Corvette I've ever had here in the shop. We'll fire it up for you in a few minutes. Take a peek at that interior, but I'll of course show you more. All right, let's get around to the driver's side so I can pop that hood open. And she's gorgeous. That C2 body style has got to be the top 3 most iconic American muscle cars of all time. Glass is in great shape. Speaking of the glass, hopefully you guys can see on the video, that windshield's got that soft ray tint. It's kind of like got a little green tinge to it. Super cool look, especially with the bright white interior. All right, let's get that hood open. All right. Oh baby, the jewelry box. So let's talk about this motor for a second. This car, as I mentioned, going over that reprint of the window sticker, this is a factory big block car, 396. This is not a clone. Now the motor that is in it, it was not born with. This is the correct block. Got all the part numbers as I mentioned earlier. And the entire motor has been rebuilt, but specifically the top end to include the correct heads, the correct intake manifold for the L78 396 cubic inch 425 horsepower. You can tell, hopefully you can see it in the video, all the hardware's been replaced. Everything's done professionally, correctly. Hopefully you can see that little snowflake stamp over there. It's got some upgrades done in the engine compartment. It's got the chrome alternator. Of course, that ignition system's been replaced. Also has a dual master cylinder. Came from the factory with a single. There's that aluminum radiator, the electric fan setup, which is nice because one of the inherent problems with these big blocks from back in the day was that they ran hot. And now with that electric fan setup, you can enjoy this car without worrying about that. A couple pulleys were replaced on the front. So again, period correct, but not numbers matching. Not going to lose sleep over that. This was just done too well. There's that snowflake stamp. Hopefully you guys can see that. This engine compartment is stunning. Everything's correct here. One of the things that drives me crazy, is call it a pet peeve, is the exhaust manifolds on these classics. You pop the hood and you get all these shiny parts in there, and then the exhaust manifolds are rusted out and discolored, but these aren't. As you can see, they're all painted nice, clean. This engine compartment is gorgeous. Hopefully you can see that Stinger battery down there, and then there's another one on this side, so it's got more than enough power for the vehicle, for the stereo, for everything. Got some new hoses put on. And again, this previous owner has owned this car for a long time. This is not just a car that's been flipped over and over and been kind of cobbled together. He did this with, again, this rebuild with an attention to detail, kind of a combination between factory spec and upgrades that make the car more drivable. Let me get this hood down. This car also, that big block has been bolted to a 4-speed. It's the M21 Muncie close ratio setup. And is there a better combination, I ask you? I would have to say no. A big block and a 4-speed? Unbelievable. So there she is. Take a look at the chrome. It's not pitted. It's not flaking. It's not dented or dinged. This is an investment grade, beautiful Corvette. Alright. Let's get some more wide angle shots of this bad boy, so you guys can see it. Again, it's got the correct steel wheels, the 15x6 with the 65 period correct hubcaps. It's got the skinny white walls, but those are new Toyo tires. They can't have 100 miles on them. They look correct, but they're not the old tires, of course, from 65. Much safer for the road. These all-season radials. Sweet. Lights work, gauges work, heat works. I think the right side of that convertible top is popped up. There we go. Speaking of the top, it's not torn, it's not tattered, there's no seams coming apart. It's in excellent shape. And when we got it, it was a little dirty, but our detailers got it cleaned and it looks awesome. Just the contrast between the black and the white is just stunning. Again, with that white Stinger running down the middle of that hood, it brings it all together. Paint wise, as you can see, the paint's got a great shine to it, there's no question. But there are some blemishes on the front fenders for whatever reason. anything that needs immediate attention, you can come out and drive this car. It's not only turnkey mechanically, but cosmetically. It could be a show winner today. It really, really is a stunning car. Hopefully that's coming through in the video. But one of the things about doing business with Carcraft Classics is that we can help with upgrades. And if you wanted to change the wheel and tire combo, or you wanted me to address the small blemishes in the paint, I could certainly do that for you. I mean, we could even strip this car and repaint it for you, the whole thing. It doesn't need it, but it could be done. Like I said, we work with I have a network of guys that offer different services for these old hot rods that we've grown to trust over time. And it's been good for our customers, because if you see something you don't like, it's certainly better to let me handle it versus having the car come to your home and it's not the way you want it. Now you have to find someone to take care of it. Now, we're in the business and we know guys that are dependable and highly qualified. But anyway, let's fire this bad boy up and let you hear it. Let's see. My favorite song. Driven this car on a couple occasions. It goes down the road well. It's got disc brakes, although they're not power, they do work well. And one thing I'll say, like most Corvettes of the era, it is a manual steering car, which I like, because there's no slop in the steering at all, not at high speed, not at low speed. And the way this car is set up, being so light, the fiberglass body, and having the skinnier wheel and tire package that this car has had forever, you don't really need power steering. Again, with that wheel and tire package and the fact that this car is so light, even at slow speeds you can turn that wheel, it's not a problem. Look at this thing, it's just rocking, just sitting there. Bad boy. I want to show you those lights pop up and down. I know that's always a concern for the Corvette guys. These do work. There you go. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to put this video on pause for just a second, and then I'm going to come back and show you the interior. I'm going to take the top down so you guys can get a real good look at that interior. Alright, so just bear with me a moment. I'll be right back. So there she is, with the top down. It's a game changer for sure. Like a fighter jet cockpit. It's awesome. So these seats, both the cushions and the covers, were replaced a few years back. I have the receipt to show, but like the way they built the motor, they tried to get covers that were correct for the time period, correct. Man, look at that. Black and white. Does it get any better? I say heck no. Let's see back here. Show you guys real quick. There's the amp back there. There's the subwoofer. A really awesome setup. Stereo. It's got way more power than it even needs, but I've got to show you something with that as well. As I mentioned, The chrome work, the bright work on the car is in excellent shape as well. Wipers work, headlights, I mentioned. I don't think there's anything cooler than a C2 Corvette. Never mind one with a big block, 4-speed, side pipes, 4-wheel disc brakes, and a white interior. Beautiful, man. Look at that. There's that teakwood steering wheel. Let me show you about that telescoping setup. There is the door panels in great shape. Rockers are in great shape. One of my other pet peeves is the guys that paint these cars always paint over the door hardware, strike plates and such. This guy did a professional job. You see all the hardware is new. Now, let me show you the telescopic steering wheel. What you do is loosen this, pull it towards you, push it away, just tighten that back down, good to go. Crazy, right? It might be the first time I've had a Corvette with that option, factory option on it. 65 gauges, they're all correct. And again, they do work. Beautiful teakwood steering wheel. Even the clock works. Look at that. It's got like the stock stereo setup. They did not cut the dash like some people do. 4-speed manual trans. Middle console's in excellent shape. Now, a lot of you Corvette guys will remember this spot right here is, it's normally a speaker grill. And that speaker doesn't ever work real well. And it also gets discolored by the sun, of course, being up in the windshield. But look what they did with this. This is where they hid the tuner, the Rockford Fosgate. Check that out. So here's your high dollar, high power Rockford Fosgate head unit. And I showed you the amp and the subwoofer in the back. It's got speakers here in the kick panels as well. And it's got some little tweeters, as we used to call them when I was a kid, for the high range sound in the door panels. So no expense was spared, not even on the stereo system. And I love what they did with the hideaway stereo so that the dash could remain original, but yet they had access to a better sounding stereo than came with this car back in the day. New carpet kit. Hopefully you can see that. I know it's finally sunny here in Georgia, but just take my word for it. It's in impeccable, brand new condition with the nice Corvette Stingray mats. Door panels are in great shape. Again, the A-pillars, all the bright work, in great shape. Just love it, if you couldn't already tell. So anyway, that is our 1965 Corvette Convertible. Hopefully I haven't missed anything, and if I have, just give me a call. Let me know. I'll be glad to take additional pictures, video, some other angles, whatever you need. Now, on our website, carcraftclassics.com, there's going to be 60 some odd pictures in there. You won't have the problem with the shadows like you're having right now. I love to shoot these videos out in the sun, but we take the pictures in a shaded area so that you can not have to battle with the shadows. So there'll be clear pictures of the inside, the exterior, the engine compartment, and even the undercarriage. But if there's anything else that I missed that you want to see, just give me a holler. If you want to schedule a test drive or you have any questions, again, I can be reached at 770-317-1415. Keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, if you want anything customized, improved, upgraded, whatever, just let me know. Be glad to investigate that for you. We can also help with shipping and financing as well. We work with JJ Best, and they've always treated our customers well. They can generally have you approved within an hour if you did decide you want to finance the car. All right, so let's get down to business. The asking price on this vehicle is going to be $69,500. We've taken a look at the market, and we think that's more than fair. We've seen some more expensive, we've seen some less expensive, but one thing we know, what we have here is a rare Corvette with the big block, the 4-speed, the side pipes, everything we've already talked about. You're just not going to see too many of these out there for sale. So give us a call if you'd like to make an offer. I really appreciate you watching, and if you could, give me a like and subscribe to our channel below on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. A little thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate it. And God bless America.